So it's a good little tip you guys should see. As we see Foreplayy pick up a wonderful headshot before they will Foreplayy. And Foreplayy is continuing to dominate everyone right now.
What up, channel? This is Foreplayy, and this is the Pro Scene number 8. Hopefully you guys enjoyed 1 through 7. We've obviously loved doing them for you guys, and I really feel that we're helping you guys get better. The gameplay that you're watching is actually a lockdown domination where Sharp and myself both got Moabs, and we came up with this idea to do a series called Moab Twins where we can talk about how we play in competitive or in public matches outside of competitive. And I'm hoping you guys can embrace the switch from competitive to pubs, just because I want to get more interactive on my channel with public matches and kind of do iGames for those, as well as we're going to do class setup videos like I promised for iGame, and that's going to break down public matches and competitive matches, what guns we use, what setups, etc. For this one, we're going to be talking about team scrims and gun setups. So many messages came in to where we wanted to address how to get team scrims and what gun class setups we use. This is going to be like a preliminary video before the actual class setup video comes out for iGame. So Sharp, if you want to go ahead and talk about how people should find these team scrims and then what they should look for when doing them.
Alright, so finding team scrims, there's a number of things you can do. Back in the day, what everyone would do is go on game battles and go in the forums and look for it. Now that's kind of the more lower skilled team scrims. You know, maybe the warm up scrim you're gonna get in there. Now, if you want to play against pro teams or you want to play against some of the better amateur teams, you're gonna want to make a Twitter account and follow some of these people on Twitter, and they'll tweet out. You know, actually, the new thing that people do today is best of 9. They'll say best of 9 scrim, message me, and just like the first person to message them. Usually they only play pros, but sometimes they'll play against amateur teams, and you know you can get in the games like that, and you can also play against other better, well-established amateur teams. Twitter is going to be the where you're going to find your best scrims at.
Yeah, your best scrims are going to be on Twitter, and those are the pro players such as our team, Leverage, Apex, Optic, a bunch of those other teams, Collapse. And also, if you're not ready for that and you don't think that they're going to give you a chance, then like we said before, go to game battles. Even the EU players, a lot of EU players are like, what do we do if we're from EU and there's no tournaments and stuff? The EU players can still play in some of the tournaments on 360 icons, however, they can't host, so you guys kind of have a disadvantage. An EU team named Epsilon did really well and actually knocked our team out of the Frag Cup, in case you guys didn't know. So anything can happen, and they were off host, so that's a big shout out to them, and that's just really impressive. But you can find these team scrims on game battles. There's a thing called the Battles Forum or something like that. I haven't used it in years, but you can use these to find these lesser scrims and other teams that are starting out and stuff. And the cool thing about it is you can scrim, search and destroy, CTF. You can actually just type in there like, all right, today my team wants to work on search, so we're looking for a 4v4, search and destroy, GB rules, MLG rules, any map, or you can scrim just the MLG maps and stuff like that. Or like what's most common is variant, to just run like variant scrims on there and stuff.
And also with the new best of 9 trend that's going on right now, all the teams are tweeting out for best of 9s, and what that means is they pretty much play all the maps, search and destroy, and CTF. And I really like that because back in the day, everyone would just always play Call of Duty 4. Everyone would always play Domination. MW2 is always CTF. Black Ops always CTF. And then now this game, at the beginning, everyone always scrimmed CTF, and it was just really repetitive, really boring, and no one really ever got any SD practice. And playing best of 9s, people get that search and destroy practice, and I think it's really good.
Yeah, you should definitely scrim, search, and destroy. I think that's one of the game types where you can come up with creative strats the most, whether it be smoke, whether it be like pre-fires and stuff like that. A lot of people talk to me about what do you guys do with search stars on game battles. Like there's a thing called like search and destroy all-stars pretty much. These kids that they're so good at search and destroy, but they have a hard time switching over to variant. And a lot of the top teams, like on the ladders, not in the MLG side of things, but on game battles, are actually search players. And like search teams only, and I have a lot of respect for them. I think Sharp used to be one. I used to consider myself one of the better search players for MLG, like on the MLG side of things. And I think Sharp, obviously, in 2009 National Championship proved himself. And I think that when you're trying to make that transition from being a search player to MLG, you can utilize team scrimming the best. Use the best of 9, slowly transition to doing CTFs and learning the maps and how to play it, and you guys will already have a heads up on the search aspect. But
yeah.
I think, oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that usually if you look at like past history and teams that have won, usually the best search and destroy teams win tournaments. It's just been proven that the teams that have their search down and practice search are gonna win. For example, MW2 Nationals, like we played, I think we won, or not MW2 Nationals, PCL3 from my bad, but all we did was win search. It was like out of the best of 11 or something. We won every search and won that series.
Yeah, and a lot of the other pro teams back then would talk shit on us and say, oh, they only win their searches, or they only do this and that. And it's one of those things where, like, no disrespect to them, but shut the hell up, you know? Like, we only won our searches, but we only won the tournament, so it doesn't matter. We would have a motto on our team: you got to win your searches. We would put so much emphasis on winning our searches that everything else didn't matter, because we knew that we were such a good team and we could squeak by with whether it be a Demolition at that time on MW2 or COD 4, Domination, or Sabotage. You could squeak by with these other game types, even though they may not be your strongest, or other teams might have better slayers, but focus on your search and destroys when you're scrimming. That's one of the biggest things I'm going to tell you, because there's going to be multiple search and destroy tournaments on game battles more than any other thing else. Also, when it comes to an MLG atmosphere, search and destroy is crucial. Not taking anything away from 2011 Envious and Black Ops, but their search game was weak, and I think they know that, and it might even cost them a national championship. But definitely focus on your searches. Now we're going to break this off and go into class recommendations for each role. And we're going to go by each role, obviously, and then start with Slayer, go all the way down through Objective and Support, and kind of just break it down with what we feel that each player should be using.
Alright, so we're going to start off with the Slayer role. Slayer's going to want to use an assault rifle now. Type 95, people kind of look down on the Type 95, but it is allowed in competitive gameplay and game battles, MLG, and all that stuff. So if you are a fan of Type 95, you can use that. The majority of the pro players like to run with the ACR. Me personally, I use ACR with red dot. I use focus because when you use focus, when you get shot at, your shot's not going to bounce up a lot, and it doesn't really have any kick on it, so you don't need to use the kick proficiency. It's already a pretty straight shot. And then every class I run extreme conditioning. You know, don't really need sleight of hand. Reload's not that long, and it's better to be able to run around faster and help your teammates. And then quick draw, second perk, that's really the only thing you can use. And then dead silence. You don't want to get sound horde, so you want to run dead silence.
Yeah, for those, that's basically what you all want to do. And then look at the gun skill video that we put out to make sure your sensitivities are right for those roles. You should be at about 2 to 3, no higher than 3 if you're a Slayer, in my opinion. And then for the objective player, make sure you're running a PP90 or an MP7. A lot of players try to run the P90 or the UMP. Those guns are good, and you can get away with it sometimes. I know I've used a silencer on a P90 and sometimes got away with it on maps such as Lockdown and Hard Hat and Search. I would use it, but MP7 and PP90 are overall just better guns. PP90 because that gun kills people so fast up close, it is just ridiculous. Like on maps such as Bootleg, even Lockdown, smaller environments where there's a lot of close quarters and stuff, you can hit fire, rip some people up, and then quick reload and obviously be able to spray. So with that, you also want to use extreme conditioning, quick draw, and dead silence as well. So, all
right, and then the last role, support. With this role, you can go either or. You can, if your team's needing more slaying power, you can run the ACR, or if your objective player is needing more help running the flags, then you can switch to the SMG. Extreme conditioning, quick draw, and dead silence. Pretty much the same perks for every single role in the game.
Yeah, I mean, those are obviously competitive classes, and then when we do an iGame and talk about our public classes and stuff, make sure you guys pay attention to those, because those are obviously going to be completely different. But I'm pretty sure that wraps it up for this video. Do you have anything else that you want to talk to them about, or?
Yeah, something that I actually did leave out that I know you guys are going to comment on this. You guys are going to ask about all the proficiencies and all this stuff. So I just want to go through it. Impact. I didn't really mention Impact when I said this, but Impact, Search, and Destroy. People like to use Impact a lot. You can shoot through stuff, so that can be an alternative to Focus. But other than that, I use Focus on everything, whether it's SMG or an assault rifle, use focus, and I just wanted to touch on that real quick.
Okay. Well, that's gonna wrap it up. If you guys would, please leave in the comments below anything that you feel that you need to learn. Like, nothing is really gonna be overlooked, and if it's a good enough topic, we're definitely gonna talk about it, because this is kind of like a series of us giving back to you guys, whether you're an amateur player, a public player trying to turn pro, pretty much anybody. We have so much knowledge behind us in competitive gaming, and in a non-cocky way, we feel like we can help you guys probably the best out of any other pro player, just because we're trying to really give back in this. So leave in the comments below anything that you guys have questions on, or anything that we haven't touched, and please go back and watch the other videos before asking the same questions, just because a lot of you guys have been doing that in my inbox. So as always, this is Foreplayy Sharp of the Ego Killer Nation and Team Envious. Peace.
Peace.
UAV online. Enemy care package incoming. Securing Charlie. Your work is appreciated. Well done.